Hey folks, we're going to do some more Scottish Gaelic tattoo app today. And this time it should be exciting because we've been working mostly on the home screen, and I think today we're going to change it up a little bit and we're going to work on one of the other screens. So let me show you a mock-up of this app and then we can get started. Okay, so this is our app. And so far the screen that we've been working on has been this one for the most part. Now we got a pretty long way on this screen. We made it so all these three buttons work. We made it through so this button on the bottom works. This carousel we're ultimately going to need to remove. I spoke to the product owner and it sounds like what we want to show on this screen is a featured phrase, but we don't need three different views here. So ultimately we will remove this more button, this more kebab thing. And then another thing that we're going to do in the future is we're going to make these phrases and clans buttons go to these different tabs in the application. Phrases, clans, oh I see, so it's the same tab, but it's just between these two buttons being pressed. Okay, cool. So that's additional work that we do need to do on the home screen, but I thought it might be fun today to go do something a little different. So we're going to switch over today to this menu screen. And we are going to make, hopefully some of these buttons work. So let me switch us now over to Xcode and we'll get started on that. All right, so here we are in Xcode. Let's take a look at our main.storyboard. Okay, so this is our storyboard right now. All right, so what we're going to do is make some adjustments to this screen. Now, one thing that I do notice when I look at these is that when you click on each of these, it does want there to be a back button. So we're going to need to embed this, I think, in a navigation controller. So let me click on this view controller, go down to the little lower right hand corner embed in menu, and it says embed in view, etc., etc. I want to embed in a navigation controller. So now this is going to be in a navigation controller, and then what we can do is we can bring another view controller on screen. View controller. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the About the Author label to this view controller, if I can get it to work. Let's try it from here. Maybe if I try it the other way. Let's see if it works with this button. Maybe it's a button thing and I have to make it a tap target type of thing. Yeah, that does appear to be the case. Look at that. In that case, I have an idea. Let's take this About the Author thing and make it UI button and see how that, how you can do that. Let's see what we want to do. Here, we could have each of these open a segue. Oh, you know what we might be able to do? Let's go into the attributes and look for User interaction enabled. Now let's try it. All right, I'm going to look this up. Storyboard, segue from label. Now it works from a button and it doesn't work from a label, so that's what we're trying to figure out. To create a segue between view controllers in the same storyboard file, control-click an appropriate element in the first view controller and drag to the target view controller. This is what we did. The starting point of a segue must be a viewer object with a defined action, such as a control, bar button item, or gesture recognizer. So we need it to have an action. That makes sense. So this is what I'm going to try. I'm going to copy my by the book element, and I'm going to rename it. About the author. Oop. Let's see. Can I set the text? An attribute? Yeah. About the author. And then I'm going to make the font the same size as this. What's this font? 19, so this font needs to be 19. 19. And I'm going to make the color that slate gray that we have for everything else. Yeah. And then I'm going to move it into this portion of the stack view, and then I'm going to delete this one. All right. So now let's try it again with that as a button. Ready? It has to have a predefined action. That makes sense. Great. So now we have segues. Now, so let me show you the segues that we already have so you get an idea of what's going on with the segues. The segues take you between two different screens. Now, these are relationship segues because they have to do with this here tab bar. But because ours is just going from one view directly to another view controller, we want ours to be a show segue. And what that's going to do is it's going to give us that back button. Show detail, by contrast, would replace this view in our navigation controller with this view, so we no longer have a back stack to pop. Okay, so we make our show segue. And then you could see we get a back button up here. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding some of our stuff. So it says about the author, about blah, blah, blah. Good. So the first thing that we're going to do is get our image. UI image view. Pull. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it like that. And then I want to give it all these three constraints, and I want its aspect ratio to stay the same. So we're adding the 4 constraints. And then we want to give it an image. Let's add an image of our author. So let's do a new image set here. And this is going to be author headshot. And let's hop over here and get our author headshot. Author headshot. Great. And now in our main.storyboard, we will say for our image, author headshot. Now, let's do aspect fill rather than aspect. Let's see how it looks. Actually, that looks about right. Oh no, it doesn't look about right. Here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that constraint, and now that it's stretched to the appropriate size, I'm going to set the constraint again on the image view. Boom. And now it's going to be set right there. And you'll notice that the aspect ratio is different now than it was. It's like about 200, whereas it was 400 something. Okay, that looks pretty nice. Let's see that it works. All right, so we go to our menu, click About the Author, and we get our beautiful author page. Let's add some of the other stuff now. So there needs to be, I think, a couple labels. 1, 2. And then we have this button at the bottom. So it looks already like this needs to be a scroll view, is what I'm noticing. Because this scrolls down. So let's go ahead and do that. So here's how we're going to do that. We're going to take our author headshot. We're going to embed it in a stack view. And then the stack view, we're going to embed in the scroll view. So let's see how that looks on our, it should look pretty much the same. All right, well, we'll fix that. Good to know. All right, so we got our stack view. And the first thing is that we need to set some constraints on this. Yeah. All right. So the first one is that from the scroll view to the safe area, we need to set a bunch of constraints. Or rather, yeah, to the main view. So let's do this. 0, 0, 0, 0. So we're adding these constraints, and then we have to check them. Trailing is scroll view. Yeah, that all looks good. And then we need the stack view to the content layout guide to have its leading space, top space, trailing space, and bottom space, I believe. And then let's look at what all of these are. They should be zeros. Oh boy. There we go. Yeah, so this is going to be a 0. This is going to be a 0. This is going to be a 0. And this is going to be a 0. There we go. So let's see how that looks so far. Not yet. So there is one more thing we need to do, which is we need to set, and I believe it's on the frame layout guide, to the view. I think these need to be equal widths. Equal widths. Ta-da! Ba-ba-da-ba! So I know that those 9 constraints might be tough to remember. I have a video specifically on those 9 constraints and getting a scroll view and a stack view to work together. So I'll put a link to that in the description. But now you've seen it again. So now we need to add some more stuff to our stack view. The first one is a label, which is going to go here, roughly. Let's put it in our stack view, because that looks pretty ridiculous. Except I want it to be under the author. Yeah, there we go. And on the stack view itself, I'm going to go ahead and set the spacing here to something cuter, like 20. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so then on my label, how big is the label? Not as big as I just made it, but that's okay. For now, we will make the text about. We'll make the color, that slate gray we've been using. And we're also going to make its leading space to the stack view not 0. So where is leading space? 20. Just the leading space, though. And now it's upset. Because this is supposed to be stack view. So we're going to delete that constraint. Or fine, we'll go over here and delete it. Or rather, let's try this. Stack view dot leading. That's what I really want it to be. Alright, you don't want to do that either. Fine. This is what we're going to do instead. We're going to embed this thing in a view. And we'll set constraints against that. So the leading space to the container now is going to be 20. Not this. It's very red and very upset. I don't think that's the solution, but we'll look at it again in a second. Okay, actually that looks all right. This is too big for sure. Let's try making that like 20. 20 point. And not 30 or whatever I made it, 37. That's fine. All right, so now we are going to take this entire view structure and copy it down below, except we're going to change some stuff about it. So first of all, on this one, the text is going to be different. which we'll get to in a second. I want the number of lines to be 0 because that allows it to be multi-line. I want it to be the dark gray color. I want my font size down. Let's make it 20 for now. Now we need to copy this text over. I don't think I can get it off of there, unfortunately. So let's get rid of this. Undo it. Is a linguistic anthropologist in Halifax, Nova Scotia. She has been involved with Gaelic in Scotland and Nova Scotia. She specializes in cultural of Scottish, Gaelic, and other minority languages. Doctor. The Scottish, Gaelic, tattoo, and book, and numerous academic research articles on Gaelic revitalization. Boom. All right, so let's see how this looks when we run it. It shows up as one line on the thing here, which I don't like. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, I'm going to get my outline up again. Well, I don't know why I have it open twice. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, we're going to click on this, come to this view, and what I'm going to do is get rid of this right thing so that I can yank this all the way back in. And what I want to do is set its trailing space. Now let's see what that trailing space got set to. Let's make it 20. For consistency, because the leading edge is set to 20. All right, we need to pull it in a little bit more. And we need to set its spacing on the top. Both doable things. So I'm going to pull this in a little more. And have that trailing space be, let's say 30 for now. And then what is our stack view spacing? 20. Let's set a constraint against the top. That's probably going to be 0 right now. That's my guess. Oh, 20? All right, well, let's see how it looks with the explicit constraints in place. All right, that does look better. think we need to pull it in just a little bit more, that trailing space. Let's try 45. And then we might need to make it equal on both sides, because I think it is supposed to be a little bit more inset than it currently is in the, because look how inset it is here, and then look how inset it is right there. Let's try both of them at 45. Edit leading space to 45. While we're here, let's edit this one's leading space also to 45. Points. Decide how we think that looks. Okay. Cool. So it looks like the next thing would be to have this go to the contact form embedding. Yeah. So I'm not going to add that until we have the contact form up and running, I don't think. So what might we do next? Maybe this rate the app one. Okay. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and make a commit right here. Let's just open a new window for this. Make it a little bigger so y'all can see. All right. So we're going to add, what it shows right now is that our author headshot images have been added. It also shows our changes to our main.storyboard. And it adds some changes to the breakpoints that I'm not too worried about. Good. So now I'm going to do git commit add about the author page that people can visit from the menu options. Git status, git push. Whoops. Oh, assuming I meant push, even though I put the wrong thing. Cool. All right, so now we're all pushed up. We've done that. What I'm going to do is, what I might actually do is cut it off here, and then we'll start a new stream this afternoon where you can see how we do this rate the app portion of the program. All right, I'll catch you then.